One of the glories of life is not at facing adversity, but how you rise above it, and whether you rise above it over and over. So adversity, as you know, comes in many forms, in many shapes, at many times. Sometimes it stays, sometimes it lingers. But what you do after it, and what you do when you face adversity is what really counts.
So tonight we have 5 amazing speakers here. This is Drew, Angel, Karina, David, and Saloni. And we're all really excited for you all to hear their stories. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to our first speaker, David.
Hi, everybody. My name's David Dominguez Hooper. I'm a 4th-year EECS major here at Cal. I want to tell you today about my story, how I came in as a freshman in fall 2013. I'm super excited. I'm enrolled in 3 technical courses as an EECS major. I'm enrolled in CS60-1A, Math 1A, and Physics 7A. So generally advisors recommend that you take like 2 techs in the humanities so you don't like overwork yourself. I found that, or I thought to myself, you know, I was valedictorian of my class, I was super smart, you know, I could do 3. As many of us think, you know, try to push ourselves, we can do more. As the semester, you know, starts, pretty okay, I'm making friends, I'm studying really hard, and then the first round of midterms come up. All of a sudden I did all the hard work, it didn't really result in the exam scores that I was expecting. You know, I was expecting, you know, A's from high school. I didn't do so great. Second round of midterms, similar results. I didn't get the A's or B's I wanted. At the same time, I'm also dealing with my family. I'm trying to support them, doing some part-time things to help with paying the bills back at home. I have this like weight on my shoulders, trying to like have all these things and try to juggle them all. And after my finals, I was just like, oh my God, that was horrible. I messed up. And so at that point, I felt like giving up. And I was lucky to have a really great support network here at Engineering Student Services. So I'm working with Tiffany and Brian and also Mary Howell. And so one of the things that Mary brought up was doing a retroactive withdrawal where I would sit out a semester and I was just like, no way, I can't do that. But the advisors and, you know, all the support that I had here really tried to explain to me, like, that's what you need to do. You need to take time to really understand what went on and to, you know, create a game plan so you can succeed. I decided that the best course of action for me would be to take community college courses. I aced every one of them at community college. I had to realize that the way I studied in high school didn't really apply to college anymore. I think it worked. When I came back, I had a fresh mindset of how to really apply myself in this new way. You know, there's tutoring available, and I used that when I came back, and it helped me tremendously. I really felt a need to, you know, do more, and so I joined a student club, which is CalSol, the solar car vehicle team here. The semester before, I was just studying all the time because I wanted really great grades, but I found that you really need to have a balance in your life. So I built my first drone over the summer, and so I found that you know, there's some students who like to fly drones, but there wasn't a community, and so I was like, hey, why don't we just create one? So that's what I did. If you feel like you're not really fitting in, you're not finding your group, you can always, you know, create your own. The key takeaways that I want to tell you guys is that when, you know, you're struggling, you really got to go find help. And the second thing is that it's okay to fail. You know, failure comes in different forms, different sizes. For me, it took a big failure to figure out what I needed to do. And then the last thing would be, don't be afraid to go outside of your comfort zone. So like for me, it was like starting my own organization here at campus. From that, where I am now, I'm in my 4th year. I'm going to be applying for the 5th year EECS Masters, and I love Cal. It's just like, it's always felt like home, but what I needed to do was really make it my own home, and I think that's what I learned to do coming back from my failure. Yeah. Thank you.
So up next we have Drew McPherson, and he'll tell you his story.
So yeah, I'm Drew. Definitely never imagined I would be here when I was in remedial English and math in high school, but in 2007, I went to my advisor for the first time at community college just after becoming paralyzed, and we sat down and like literally just drew out what my ed plan would need to be, and it was like 5 years of math. I had to go start back at pre-algebra and take 9 consecutive semesters of math. It was something for me to focus on. It was like a goal that was tangible, and I knew like this is what I was working towards. I just rolled straight in. I'd never, even considered college really before that, and said, hey, what can I do to get a bachelor's in mechanical engineering? It seems like technology is a way for me to kind of use my brain to extend my body what my body can't do anymore. You might wonder, like, why would it still take 10 years to get a 4-year degree? And that was because I needed, about 5 years to transfer, but I also needed, like now, if I get nervous, it's hard for me to breathe. Like, initially, I had to literally, like, learn how to breathe. I couldn't move my arms. I wasn't able to actually feed myself or swallow. So, like, coming from getting paralyzed and literally drowning in the river to, like, gradually taking classes again, learning what I needed to do for myself just to kind of stay alive, plus, like, study as kind of my focus was a long process, and it hit me that was something, and it's kind of balance. Everyone needs different balance. Getting really focused and getting wrapped up in your different schoolwork or assignments is easy to do, and especially easy to do here being surrounded by everything. But like, if you ever have like questions or ideas or like not taking an opportunity, it's always worth asking, because if you don't ask, the answer is always no. But like, if you ask, there is at least a reasonable possibility. I think my very first semester, I came here and went to the hang gliding club, and they were like, "What are you doing here? Like, how are you going to run down a hill and hang glide?" I was like, "Well, I mean, valid point, but I still want to hang glide, so I'm sure there's a way to make it happen." And I've talked to them a couple times. Now in touch with one of the instructors, but one of a mutual friend does paragliding. So since then, I've gone paragliding a couple times, and basically just tie my legs up, and he has legs, so he can run, and we can take off. It works okay. So kind of my takeaways are like, one, it might take you 2 years or 20 years to graduate, but like, just kind of making a plan and keeping at it, I've found successful, as well as, asking. And there's a mad amount of resources here. I can't imagine that very many other places in the world you can just straight like have an idea and find people and money and like do things like that. So I definitely recommend taking advantage of that while you're here. That's about it.
So next, our speaker is Karina Chang, and let's all welcome her to the stage.
Hi, my name is Karina Chang. I'm a sophomore in EECS. My first year at Berkeley was an incredibly rough period of my life.
I was incredibly lonely. It was this deep loneliness that no one really knows you exist and no one really cares. It was also during this time where I was incredibly unsure about my future and where I belonged in the tech world. It was, while I did enjoy coding, I never really saw myself as a software engineer. And people always say to follow your dreams and achieve your passions. And it felt like my passions and my dreams were far away from the tech world. It felt like I was maybe going to do coding for a few years and then move on with my life. I really had no idea where my future was going. When I first came to college, I had all these expectations for myself, and also people had expectations for me. I thought that I was going to meet a bunch of new friends in college and have a great time and really follow my dreams, do these cool photography, film things. And I knew that my friends and my family back at home expected that I would be rocking it out at Berkeley, achieving what I had come to do. And I didn't really want to tell anyone that I secretly hated Berkeley. I hated feeling alone all the time, and I hated really how I was kind of isolated. When I left Berkeley in May, I left kind of feeling that I didn't accomplish anything. I didn't make any deep connections with people. I didn't feel a connection to Berkeley as a school or as a community. And so I was expecting to really rush through my next 3 years at Berkeley, really focus on academics, graduate, and then leave, never looking back. However, during the summer, I had the opportunity to intern at Microsoft up in Washington. And I was interning as part of this program where I could experience both program management and software engineering. And for someone who had spent so long worrying and figuring out how to connect with people, I really fell heart first into the program management role. I really loved being able to connect with people and to see this human perspective on technology that people rarely ever talk or think about. And I got to work with absolutely brilliant people. I got to do a lot of things that terrified me. I would basically email people I didn't know Microsoft, and I would say, "Hi, I'm an intern. I don't know you, but I want to know about your career. Can we grab coffee sometimes?" And I got to talk to people who were experts or in their fields and who really shaped the course of Microsoft this way. And I also didn't let go of things that I loved either during the summer, where I got together this group of interns that I didn't know, and there were strangers of strangers because someone knew someone who knew someone. And for 48 hours, we made a short film end to end. Looking back, it was really a summer that changed who I was in terms of my dreams for the future, and also this confidence in who I am and how I connect to people. And so then, by the end of the summer, I was devastated. I was leaving this job I really loved. I was leaving these friends I had really gotten to know over the course of the summer. And I was going back to this place where I had this loneliness, and I associated all these feelings of fear and isolation. And looking back over these past few months that we've been in school, it really has changed. It's changed how I've looked at school and life and people. For the longest time, I had really thought that everyone had just magically found their friends and their family and really found their place in college and found it as like a home. And I realized that it was a matter of investing time, but also putting myself up there first and happening to things instead of letting things happen to me. However, not everyone is going to be happy with what you decide to do with your life, and not everyone's going to agree with you. I've talked to someone and he's asked me, "Are you still going to be in EECS? Like, what's the point of that?" People will think that the less technical you are, the less respect you deserve. And that is absolutely not true. I'd like to leave you with this. Things take time. Things don't happen overnight. You won't automatically find your best friends or your community. That things will really progress a lot faster if you take the first step, if you happen to things. Looking back, the moments where you do say yes and the moments where you do walk up to that person and talk to them, for me, those experiences have led to the greatest experiences I've had in the past year and a half. I came to Berkeley hating it for an entire year. And right now, I'm exactly where I need to be. Thank you.
And so up next, we have Angel Klyce. Let's all welcome her to the stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angel Klyce, and I'm a fourth-year student here at Cal studying cognitive science. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out to listen to my story, and along with everyone else's stories here. Coming in as a freshman, I was really excited to be here at Cal. I thought that I was going to experience the same success that I experienced in high school, but that actually wasn't the case. It's kind of like I came in with a backpack on, a backpack that was filled with ideas of why I thought I didn't deserve to be here, or why I thought I was going to fail, and just different things of that nature. And I walked around on campus with this backpack, and I didn't let anyone see what was inside of it. I initially came in as a math major, and I didn't really like math in high school, but I was good at it, so I thought, why not? I'm just going to major in math. Turns out that I actually really don't like math, and I'm actually not really good at it at all. And so I decided to switch my major to computer science after I took CS10, which was one of the first computer science classes that I took here. I fell in love with computer science and I fell in love with programming. After taking 61A for the first time, I had to pass no pass it. It was actually really hard and I didn't do as well as I thought I was going to do. So I took it for a second time and I received a C- in it. I thought, you know, I have all these other courses that I need to fulfill my major, so I'm just going to keep going on. So I went and I took CS61B with Hillfinger, and I did horribly. So I decided to pass no pass it and take it again that following semester, in which I received a C-. At this point, my confidence was at an all-time low. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't think that I was even capable of majoring in computer science, and so I decided to switch my major. After deciding to switch my major to cognitive science, there was one more computer science course that I needed to take, which was CS70. I actually ended up receiving an F in that class, a big fat F. And it was the first time that I had ever received an F in my academic career. As fast as I saw my GPA drop is literally as fast as I saw my self-esteem go right with it. I knew that I had to take CS70 as a requirement, so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna take it next semester. I'll have 8 more weeks than I did during the summer. I can at least get out of there with a C-. But that did not happen. I got an F again. Soon after that, I became like really depressed and really isolated myself. I thought I couldn't see myself as a computer scientist. I could never get a job as a software engineer. My GPA sucked. I thought I sucked, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to ask for help. 2 weeks into that following semester, I found out that I was on academic probation. I felt paralyzed. I felt like I didn't have any tools or any resources to pull myself up from how I was feeling. I found out that there was a seminar being offered by the EOP office for students who were on academic probation. Through that seminar, I was able to identify some of the key factors that were really affecting me academically and personally that led me to being put on academic probation. Things like being depressed, imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is so real. Like having low self-esteem and low self-worth. And through that, I was able to get connected with different resources like counselors at the Tang Center, advisors like in the ESS office, as well as the EOP office. If it wasn't for that seminar, I probably would have ended up being dismissed after that semester. Because I was able to really learn from all of my failures and see that there was a learning opportunity from them, I felt much lighter. I felt more confident, and I was able to finish that semester with 3 A's and 1 B and get off of academic probation. I was also able to finish the semester with an internship at IBM for that following summer as a software engineer. Learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable really helped me grow from my instances of failure and failing all of those classes. Learning that your GPA does not define who you are, and that you can do whatever you want no matter what your GPA is and no matter what your major is. And also that like failures are just little bumps in the road on your journey to success, and it's up to you to let them knock you down or to grow from them and continue on your journey. Thank you.
And so with that, I want to welcome our last speaker, Saloni Shah. So I'm going to give her a round of applause.
Hi everyone, I'm Saloni. I'm a senior here studying computer science. So it's hard enough to succeed when you have external critics, but it's even harder when you're holding yourself back. For the longest time, I used to put myself down every time I experienced some kind of setback or failure. So in high school, I knew that I wanted to pursue a career that would allow me to make an impact on people. So naturally I thought I would be a doctor. But after going to an immersion program where we had to kind of get like an idea of what it's like to be a surgeon, and I had to suture a pig's foot, and I fainted, and I realized that maybe I should pick a different medium through which I could make an impact on people, because I don't want to faint during surgery. That would be the wrong kind of impact. I switched my track to computer science, but I made this decision kind of late in high school. So when I came into college, I didn't really have much coding experience. And so my best friend, he had been coding since middle school, and I used to study with him all the time. And it would take me 2 hours to do a certain homework or a problem or whatever, and it would take him 5 minutes to do the exact same thing. So I thought that I was just really bad at coding. I didn't realize it at the time, but it's obvious to me now that I was just making really unfair comparisons, comparing my 1 month of CS experience to his 5 years of experience. So I quickly lost confidence, and when you don't believe in yourself, it's really hard to achieve anything. It seemed like to them, to other people, that I had everything figured out, because to them they saw someone who was leading 2 organizations and had recently declared my major. It was really hard, but it happened. And then I had recently also gotten an internship at Google. On the inside, I still felt like I was constantly struggling. Imposter syndrome kicked in. Then also in my sophomore year, I went to my first Grace Hopper conference. That year, Sheryl Sandberg was a keynote speaker. She had recently lost her husband and talked about how one way she coped with it was by writing down every night 3 things she did well that day. So I tried to do what she was doing, write 3 things down every day, but it wasn't really working for me. It just felt like a writing exercise. I was interning at Google on their identity and authentication team. I was as a returning intern, am I supposed to know everything? Did I learn enough things last summer? And the summer before, so my first internship on Google Play, I put so much pressure on myself. I worked for 11 hours every day, and I would to-go my lunch and eat it at my desk so I could get another half an hour of work in. And so this summer, my project was so much bigger, and I had less guidance. And so I knew that something would have to change. I just kind of randomly felt like writing about it, like a diary entry. And as I did that, I remembered Sheryl Sandberg's keynote. I decided to give that another try. So I did it for a week, and I realized that I really liked it. And I've noticed that it's had a big effect on me, because I'm no longer so hard on myself. It's so helpful to not dwell on the negative things and the things that you don't do well. When you're constantly hard on yourself and thinking all these things you can't do, it's really easy to come up with excuses for why you should say no to opportunities and why you may not be a good fit. Just try to see if you're doing all you can to support your own self and your own growth. So yeah, that's all I have.